Hey, music fans, of course, in particular, rock fans, welcome to the Musical People and Journeys show, MPJ. This is a single album review. It's taken from our main show, where we review a whole bunch of albums, and this month is pretty exciting. We've got the likes of Kasabian, Five Finger Death Punch, Machine Head, Panic at the Disco, Silver Sun Pickups, Muse, and I promise you some really cool surprises of bands that you've never heard of, because it's all part of the journey. So please go and check out our YouTube channel if you enjoy the show, and check out more reviews, and of course the old YouTube plea. Please like and subscribe, and please enjoy. Thanks very much. Well, I'll tell you who's next, and it suits the scene that we're in, and the concert that we're in is down by the beach, and Pale Waves have just rolled in off the ocean with their album Unwanted or Wanted. Let's find out about Pale Waves and Unwanted. Ian, it's your turn to start, my friend. What about Pale Waves and Unwanted? Tell us.
So, Pale, best thing that you can use when talking about this album. Unwanted, 100%. I just could not get over my head that this was the worst Avril Lavigne tribute act ever. I completely my view of this was, okay, all right, so he's very Avril Lavigne-esque, and he's got that lovely sort of 90s, you know, dum 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 sort of type feel to it. Don't know what that actually means, but there we go. However, when she started talking about, because I guess with the sound, it's aimed to maybe a young audience, I guess, and then she's talking about in the songs about an abusive partner, and that it's not right, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then a few songs later talks about, oh, I can't leave you because I love you. That is just an absolutely disgusting message to give to impressionable teens, especially when, you know, we are making moves in society to move away from domestic violence and so forth. Obviously it's a little bit personal to me as well, but I just, that mixed message for me there switched me right off from Beyond. It's it just, surprising enough, it did not float my boat in any way, shape or form. So it's going to get a 5.
I thought you would have said it's the most worst power metal band that you've listened to. So Paul, Pale Waves, this is not their first album, is it?
No, and yes, they're definitely not a power metal band, to be honest. So Manchester Quartet, Pale Waves, I'm not going to say much about them actually, because I'm on this similar wave to Ian, really. On last year's album, Who Am I? They saw them, explore the early 2000s pop punk genre. With the Unwanted album, they've firmly encamped themselves in this genre, sounding like a cross between Avril Lavigne, Ting Tongs or whatever, Tong Tings, and Ting Tings, yeah, and Wheatus. Yes, it's witty on times and an easy listen. And if this was the first time that I'd listened to this stuff, I'd be highly impressed. Unfortunately, I've heard it a but ton of times, so this type of music, probably Pale Waves are probably the pick of the bunch in doing, retro 2000s punk, pop punk. But there isn't much originality here, and a number of listens, it sounds too much like a tribute, like as Ian has said, to earlier work of Lavigne and co.
Dave, feel a bit sad here so far. Can you bring up? Are you on your surfboard riding this wave, mate? Or
well, as someone that was a teenager in the late 90s, early 2000s, I unashamedly enjoyed pop punk, and I did enjoy this. For me, it's actually more Paramore than I would say Avril Lavigne, if you're familiar with them, and that's not a bad thing. I found her voice suited the style perfectly. It was short and sweet, everything that a pop punk album should be. I do agree with what Paul said. There is no originality here at all. It's something that you've heard before, but again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is going to hurt the overall sort of enjoyment and the ranking of the album. Yeah, it was an enjoyable introduction to the band, but you know, it's not spectacular. It follows the theme of this this festival for me. Solid albums, but nothing spectacular.
Talking of spectacular, Trish.
I've actually been to see Pale Waves live.
Have you? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I went to Bournemouth to see them. This is like their... Where's my notes? Oh, God, help me. This is their third album. And their other stuff this is quite different to their previous stuff. Definitely Paramore influence is quite obvious in their sound with this album. It's got clean riffs and melodies that are easy to like in songs Jealousy and You're So Vain that both have attitude. This is the most rocky Pale Waves have sounded. I think it's an important album for them, opening them up to a wider audience with their more rock sound to win people over.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did.
Good. So go into the Avril Lavigne scenario, okay? Yeah. And you're absolutely right. It is easy because of the sound of her voice to make comparisons to Avril Lavigne. And I was second listen, go like, I'm enjoying this album too much. Is it an Avril Lavigne parody? So we did. Avril Lavigne released an album a few months ago, and I purposely didn't put it on because I kind of knew what we were going to get. So I purposely didn't, and I think there was much other good stuff that we put in. So I purposely didn't put Avril Lavigne in to the rock review, and I'm so glad I did because I went back and went, well, is this just a take of Avril Lavigne? So I went back and listened to that latest album. Oh my God, it was so one-dimensional, it was so dull, it was so repetitive, it was just ridiculous. So then I went back to Pale Waves, and what I would say about this album, whereas it might not be original and it's a sound you might have heard before, the actual album is incredibly varied. They vary it up. It's not, you know, from slower tracks to faster tracks to more pop punk. It is a solid album. It is a very, very enjoyable album, and I think she's got a better voice than Avril Lavigne. I mean, based on that previous album, very much similar to that, and I would agree to that Paramore kind of feel vibe to this album as well. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't. Don't get me wrong. It's not like the best album I've heard of, but I think it was really solid. I really like a bit of indie rock, and I think that if you're gonna play in this space, whether you're going to be sounding similar, the recording, the sound, the mix, all has to be of a highest quality, and it was high quality in that sense as well. So I think this was a solid album, and certainly yes, her vocals sound similar to Avril Lavigne, but I would say that her arrangements and stuff, I think Avril Lavigne maybe has just got lazy or just got into that commercial kind of vibe, because honestly, guys, don't bother. For me personally, that listen to that album was pretty pants, really. But I'm glad I did, because actually it made me appreciate this album a little bit more. So okay, cool.
Yeah, only criticism I've got there, Nigel, is you listened to Lavigne's earlier work, where it reflected what the teenagers were going through at the time, and that's the originality of it. And this is what is lacking for this. I agree with everything. It was a well-produced album. I loved the voice and everything. I just wish there was something that made it stand out, and for me, it didn't. But
yeah. What did I
it's
like
not to say it was bad.
No, I'd say sorry, but and you know what? I'm not going to criticise or come against Ian on what Ian said, because you know what? We all listen to lyrics, and those lyrics will mean something to us. Whether they meant it for be like that, whether they meant it because it was a personal experience from their point of view. I kind of get it, but lyricism for me will mean so much to different people, and you can read into it what you want. So you know what, I think that's fair play on that score. So let's find out. Let's find out. It doesn't sound like we're going to rise a crest of a wave, but we shall see. Ian.
So I jokingly said 5 out of 5, but actually I gave it 0 out of 5.
Zero.
Purely because of the mixed message, because it's so powerful for me.
Yeah, no, you can switch off from an album, and if you can't listen to it, you can't listen to it. I find that about Dave's voice sometimes. I mean, but I wouldn't give him a 0. Anyway,
I wouldn't give Dave's voice a 0 either. Definitely not.
No, not at all. I'm looking forward to his guitar rock riff though. But there we go, Paul.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I originally give it. Yeah, I'm going to stick with 2.5.
Dave.
I'm going to go with 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Trish.
3.5 out of 5.
3.5 out of 5. Trish, we are on a similar part today, me and you, girl. It's a 3.5 out of 5 for me as well. So 7, 10, 12.5. It's actually smack on pretty much right in the middle. It's divided us. It's right in the middle. So it's not a terrible album. I think it will hit sweet spots. But anyway, so who is next? I can see some dust picking up in the background here of something pulling into the car park. Who could it be?